So there's about 10,000 lists out there of the top 20 superhero movies. I just gotta throw mine into the mix. Stick around and you'll find out mine. Well, welcome back everybody. Another day, another fun life in comic books. And other things as well. I mean, it's pop culture. You've got a lot of things that entertain us all. But today I wanted to cover my top 20 superhero movies of all time. Now, there's a lot of lists out there. Some of them list the top 75 and 100. And be honest, when you get to 75 and 100, usually you're at the point where nobody ever wants to see those movies again. It's like, oh, Daredevil with Ben Affleck, yay! So, I decided to make my own top 20 list, and I ran through all the movies I could find. And there are some movies that I want to stress. You're not going to find things like The Incredibles and Big Hero 6. Yes, they are superhero type movies, but I wanted something that was more based in comic books. By the way, I love Big Hero. I love both those movies. If I could get white in ink, I would have Baymax on my other arm. There are other movies that are on a lot of people's lists that are just not mine, and I'm going to run through those real quick so you're not looking forward to them. You got Deadpool for one. I'm not a Deadpool fan. I never have been. I never watched the movie. My friends all told me, you got it. It's so great. It'll change your mind. I watched it. It didn't change my mind. It was exactly what I don't like. Logan. Yes, a lot of people say it was great. To me, it was Grumpy Old Men Part 3 with claws. Spider-Man Far From Home is on a lot of people's lists. I'm sorry, to me, it seemed like it was just trying too hard after Endgame. And it was a hard act to follow, and I didn't think so. Joker. Now, let me stress this. Joker is... Joaquin Phoenix is amazing, okay? If you haven't seen it, see it. But just... First off, there's no superhero in the movie. It's a 2.5 hour descent into madness, and he brings you with him. At the end of the movie, I and my friend Brittany were movie buddies. We saw it, and we were just sitting there staring at the screen, even after the lights came on, and went, what did we just watch? I feel like I've lost some sanity along the way. It was disturbing. It really is a disturbing film, and it's because Joaquin Phoenix is that good. And if you have any kind of a movie that moves you that much, it's a great movie, but there's no superhero in it. That's why it's not on my list. And sorry, I don't care how many people like it. I don't like Captain Marvel. Okay? I'm sorry, I said it. So, that all being said, let's get into the list. I'm going to start at number 20, work my way down. We'll get to 2, do our honorable mention, and then we'll hit the number 1 spot. This is a great moment for you to hit that like button and subscribe. I told you, you'd never know when I'm going to throw this in here. But anyway, did you do it? I didn't see you do it. Try again. First one on the list, the 2002 Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. Now, there have been a lot of TV shows and movies and things that they were all low budget. They weren't movies that really gave Spider-Man what we all wanted up on screen. And yes, there have been a lot of great Spider-Man movies after, but this was the one that set the tone that said, look, if you dump money into a budget for a good script, good actors, and good special effects, you will see a return in the box office. And they did. And, that was a great movie. It was not the first of the Marvel movies that really broke through these genres. It was number 19, X-Men from 2000. Now, I love X-Men. The first one, the casting in this, again, was amazing. This is where you first see Hugh Jackman start as Wolverine, and I love the banter, not really banter, but the interaction between him and Cyclops, and you see that animosity that you saw in the comic books, the two guys that are fighting over the same girl, and they played it so well. And for its time, this was Marvel's, big breakthrough prior to this, there had been no real big Marvel movies. And between 19 and 20, you've got X-Men and Spider-Man. They're the ones that laid the groundwork for all of the MCU. So we must all say thank you, thank you. And they did a great job. Bryan Singer, I love them. Number 18, keeping in the same vein, though, is 2017 SpiderMan Homecoming. Now, I'm not a Tom Holland basher. I like him. My personal favorite, I liked Andrew Garfield. I never really was a big fan of Tobey Maguire. I thought the oh my back was cute, but the dancing scenes, and I know that was Sam Raimi, but what were you thinking? I just liked Andrew Garfield. Tom Holland, though, still, he knocks it out of the park. He's great. He plays that perfect 15, 16-year-old mid-high school kid that, probably gets picked on. It's very good. I'm not crazy about the surrounding cast of his classmates. They don't work for me. But all that being said, it's still a good movie. It's still very good special effects, good storyline. And to see Michael Keaton as the Vulture, I loved it. I mean, him sitting in that front seat looking in that mirror, that scared me, okay? Number 17, getting a little animation in here. Batman Mask of the Phantasm from 1993. I mean, this is Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy at their greatest. It's a great story. I don't think that Mark Hamill hit it out of the park as much as he did in this movie. He always does, though, but it's a great one. It's one like you can watch over and over again and still enjoy. The 1989 Batman. Now, I mean, I know people are going to go back now and watch it for the first time if they never have. You don't understand what we had back in the 80s and 70s and 60s. The only film reel version of Batman to that point was the 1960s TV show with Adam West, which is very campy and kooky and biff bop pow, and they did a movie of it where they got all the characters, all the villains in, and nobody really took Batman seriously. And a lot of Batman fans, a lot of Batman fans were clamoring, please, we want something. And you needed something like Tim Burton to bring that dark side. And it still wasn't even as dark as people have later found out. But it's a dark scene, scenes, the backdrops, the music, a little bit high tech with Prince, but he does a great soundtrack on that too. Jack Nicholson played an iconic Joker, a Joker that had not been seen to that point. Okay, we only had Cesar Romero, so to see somebody that was just joking and killing people with an electrifying joy buzzer, this was like, yes, now people are going to start to understand that don't read the comics what Batman is all about. 1978's Superman. This was a groundbreaker, okay? I know people are going to look back at it and say, oh, Superman. Well, yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 12 or whatever. Okay. But number one was taking us to a level that superhero movies had never been. They had never been a big budget, super special effects, green screens. You see him flying and catching a helicopter, and you walked out of that movie like, whoa! This was a whole new age for not just superhero movies, but movies in general. And they could not have picked a better person than Christopher Reeve to play the part. I loved him, okay? I mean, that scream that he does at the end when he finds Lois dead in his arms, it's primordial, okay? It chills you. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, this one really caught me off guard. I mean, I really wasn't expecting much. I still don't like Spider-Ham. I'm sorry. I just never will. A little pig playing Spider-Man. Why? As you see, I have very specific tastes. But the movie itself, the story, is what got me. And I'm like, this is really, really well done. It plays a nice... it pulls at your heartstrings on some scenes, and it really pokes fun at some of the scenes that we all poke fun of. It is acknowledging that, yeah, the Spider-Man universe along the way has made its mistakes, and they acknowledge it. But it really was great. And, I mean, moving up, sorry, I don't want this to go 2 hours long. Number 13, Iron Man. I never read Iron Man comics. I tried. I didn't like them. Alcoholic, billionaire, playboy. Oh, whoa, whoa. What a hard life he's had. Okay, so, he's really smart and he makes his own suit of armor with the limitless funds that he has. It didn't strike me the same as poor kid who gets picked on in high school, who gets bitten by a spider, wants to try to make a little money off his powers, and his uncle dies as a result. I mean, that's tragic. As a kid, I didn't understand alcoholism and see what it did to people's lives. So I just shied away from the book as it was. Robert Downey Jr., while he doesn't play an alcoholic in the movie, he does play somebody who covers all the scope but brings it into focus. So I really understood it. And the MCU would not be anything without Stark at the helm. I'm sorry, he led everything along the way. And it's his portrayal of Iron Man that got us through to the end of Endgame. Number 12, Thor Ragnarok. Okay. First Thor, The second Thor, Dark World, I'm never watching another Thor movie again. And Thor Ragnarok came out, like, no, I'm done with Thor. Nope, I'm not going to watch it. And people are talking about it. And the reviews are coming out. And it's all positive. And people saying this is what turns the franchise around. I'm like, all right, let me go watch it. Oh, man, I was so thoroughly impressed. They did it right. And it was fun. It was a comic book on the screen. Okay, it really was. You could actually even, if you wanted to, just go like this. Open your eyes every 5 seconds and make it panels. And you'd have a comic book. It was great. I loved it. Number 11 was something that none of us saw coming. Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, who thought the world would be in love with a raccoon and a tree? Okay, I read Guardians of the Galaxy when they first came out. I didn't like the comic book when I was a kid. I was like, oh, really? They're bringing these guys in? Which I was like, this is never going to work. They don't know what they're doing. And I saw the movie, and I'm like, okay, I need to shut up. And I'll be honest, I'm worried about, where is it? No, opposite side. There we go. Eternals. I'm worried about the Eternals because this is something that I viewed the Eternals the same way I viewed Iron Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. And, by the way, also Doctor Strange. These were books that I never found interest in. I'm like, these are not going to work well on the screen. And, man, I needed to shut up. So I've got high hopes. I don't want to say expectations, but I've got high hopes for the Eternals that it's going to change my mind the same way. Number 10. We're getting into the top 10. 2012's Avengers. Now, I know a lot of people are going to have this higher on their list, but there's just too many other too many other movies on this list, on my list, and you guys are going to kill me when we start getting higher up, that outweigh it. Okay, and I saw Avengers in the movie theater. I loved it, and yes, it's a great film. It ties all the individual characters from the movies together. It's great. No doubt about it. It's just there's others that I think are better. Number 9, and I'm going to get in trouble on this one too. How is this not top 3? Black Panther. Okay, yes, I love Black Panther. Okay, don't get me wrong. These are my top 10. Okay, so none of these are any that I have anything against. Great scenery, great cinematography, great acting, great storyline. Chadwick Boseman, I liked Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. It wasn't his finest performance in my mind. I'm not saying it was bad. If you have not seen 42, where he plays Jackie Robinson, you need to see that movie. Okay, that will give, you love Chadwick Boseman now. If you haven't seen, it'll take it to a whole new level you didn't even know it could be. Okay, and I still have to see Thurgood Marshall portrayal. X-Men First Class. Why is this in this top 10? Okay, it's a very good movie. I think it brings a lot of the characters. I love the extension scene of Magneto as a child and the follow-up at the end. But this is the single biggest reason why it is in my top 10. It has the best cameo in the history of movies, bar none. Okay, when Charles Xavier, Eric Lenscher, go yourself. When I saw him on the screen and they were walking, I'm like, wait, actually, I saw this for the first time on Blu-ray at home. I had to hit pause. I had to leave the room and catch my breath because I could not stop laughing. I was tearing up. I had to go back and rewind and play it about 400 times. I couldn't, that is, and every time I get to that movie, I will still act exactly the same way. And I start to cry, I start to laugh. I love it. So, number 7, Doctor Strange. This was a great movie, but the first time I saw it was actually on the Disney Cruise Line. Okay, so you've got all these buildings. They have their own movie theater if you haven't been on it, and their own stage show. It's a very big boat. And you got all the buildings and the special effects are rolling and flipping over, and they're falling this way and they're falling this way. Meanwhile, I'm on a boat that's slightly doing this, so I've got it's like see sicko vision. But it gave an extra dimension to the movie. And I've watched that movie probably about 10, 12 times, and each time I pick up something else that I missed before, or some little nuance, or just a facial expression that I missed before. And they're so in-depth with their perfection in the making of this movie and the development of this character. I can't say enough for it. It's a great, great movie. Number 6, Civil War. Now, this is where you are going to start to get that separation of the Avengers, and specifically the separation of Tony and Steve. And at the very end where he drops the shield and he walks away. If you think about it, that is the last time that those two guys saw each other until Endgame, when he landed and said, I lost the kid. Okay? All the other stuff, they did not interact at all. They stayed apart. These are two of the greatest superheroes on the face of the earth, and they're avoiding each other for all this time. It's a tense, great movie which sets up the groundwork and the understanding of the emotions going forward. Number 5. I know we've had a lot of Marvel in here, but I'm going to be giving you some non-Marvel. Number 5, Wonder Woman. I thought it was a really, really good movie. I know a lot of people look at that and go, Wonder Woman, maybe down by 15 or 20. No, I thought it was great. And what I really liked about it was the maturity of the character that we already knew from her interaction in the Batman Superman movie and in the beginning of Wonder Woman when she's looking back. And then you see how naive she was from 2017 going back to 1917, 100 years earlier, how naive she was about the world. And how full of hope she was that mankind could change by killing just, Ares, the god of war. And you could get a sense of how jaded she became over the years and how much the loss of Steve Trevor meant to her. It's a well-written story that if you look at it in depth, it's really, really good. And also you get to look at Gal Gadot for 2 hours. I mean, it ain't getting much better than that. Number 4, Infinity War. Now, Infinity War, a lot of people say that that's the best of the Avengers movies. And I got to give it a lot of credit. It is a very, very good Avengers movie. It's my second one. The only reason I don't have it higher is because of the other 3 films. It is very, very close to perfection. Number 3, V for Vendetta. Now, here's one that was like, what? Yeah, I'm sorry. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie. I can quote this movie inside and out. I love Hugo Weaving in just about everything that he does. It's great. It really is great. I'm a big conspiracy theorist anyway, so why not? Number 2, here it comes, Endgame. So why do I have Endgame above Infinity War? Because Endgame was the only film in my life that had me screaming, cheering, screaming, crying, and screaming, laughing for 3 hours straight. If you ever watch the videos of the audience reactions and you hear those people going absolutely nuts, I'm one of them. Okay, I'm one of those super nerds that just lets it all out, and I don't care. I went to go see this with my friend Brittany, and as the ship is going to go get the Soul Stone, I looked. I was like, "Oh my God, they're going to Vormir." She's like, "Yeah." I said, "How do you get the Soul Stone?" She went, "Oh no, I said, yes!" And then we're basically banging each other for the next 20 minutes over, because she wants Black Widow to live, Natasha to live, and I'm thinking, no, actually, Clint is the one that really needs to live, and he's turned into an asshole. Yes, but Natasha has been trying to find a way to clean her slate, and this is the ultimate way of cleaning her slate. Plus, what are you going to do? You're going to get everybody back, and oh, hey, we're snapping everybody back. By the way, wife and kids, your father's dead. I don't know. Before I get to number one, I want to give 3 honorable mentions. I did have Lego the Batman movie. This is one of those cute, corny movies that it's Lego, so you don't take it seriously in the first place. But just any kind of a scene where you can see Batman in a robe eating lobster thermidor. It's hysterical. I love that movie. The Wolverine from 2013. I thought it was so close to being a great movie. I think if they just gone out and just made the 1982 Frank Miller series, I think it would have worked very well. But they deviated from it. They pulled from it, but didn't quite all the way. And I don't know. And Captain America Winter Soldier. This was a very good movie, but to me, it just seemed like Bucky, Shield, Remlo, Falcon, Black Widow, Nick Fury. It just pulled the movie in too many different directions. But without that movie, though, we would not have had the iconic On Your Left, which is another one of those times that I screamed my head off at Endgame. All right, well, I want to thank you for joining me before we get to number one. Just a reminder to like and subscribe and share if you can. But my number one, and as much as I'm a Marvel fan, I have to admit it, is Batman the Dark Knight. This movie is probably my favorite movie of all genres put together, and it is utter perfection. This was the first movie that I got on DVD, on Blu-ray. I went and bought a Blu-ray player and $75 gold-plated monster cables and everything else just to watch this movie. And I cannot say enough for it. Just from the opening sequence that just starts without even Warner Brothers and this and that or whoever movie studio made it and starring this and Batman. No name titles. Just there's a building. It starts to zoom in. Window blows out. You're like, oh wow, I'm actually watching the movie already. It's great. Heath Ledger gives a portrayal that nobody ever did. It's his own version of it. It's perfect. I'm not. I can't. I'm running through the cast in my head, and there's not one member of the cast that I would replace with another actor. There's not one line that I would replace with another line. It's perfection. So. That wraps up my list. I'm already at 22 minutes. I'm so glad you guys stuck around with me. But thank you again. Like, subscribe again, and you guys have a wonderful one. And I'm working on that list for the CGC submission. I'm going to be making the video for that real soon. Bye-bye.